last few weeks, I have watched individual after individual, family after family begin to set aside the unhealth and brokenness in their lives and begin to pick up the way that God laid out for them. Begin to pick up and become that true self, that real person God made us to be. And so now as we enter into Lent, it is time to take that journey of building the better version of ourselves to the next level. It's time to get even deeper with it. It's time to push ourselves even further. Because we've seen God at work. We've seen God doing His thing. And now let's really open ourselves up so we can see Him do it even more. You see, in order to do this, in order to go through Lent, we have to begin today reflecting on the things that are keeping us from getting there, that are keeping us from really going deeper. Our theme for Lent, the worship team and I have really wrestled with how to describe this. And this is probably the most wrestling we've done in regards to setting up a theme. But in reality, this was the thing that we felt like really sealed it all up. That the goal of Lent is to empty ourselves of the baggage, of the chains, of the bondage that's holding us back from following in the way of God, from growing in our faith, that's keeping us from knowing His wholeness. And so for these next 40 days, it officially starts on Wednesday, our goal is to empty ourselves of the unhealth, to empty ourselves, to set free our hearts of the things that have kept them bound and under control. You see, for most of us, Lent tends to be an idea of giving up something. And more often than not, this giving up centers around something like giving up chocolate, or giving up soda pop, or giving up chips. I don't know. But the problem with that is when we give up just some kind of food item or some kind of something like that, it in reality implies that after the 40 days is over, you're going to pick it back up. You're going to eat chocolate again. We all focus on how on Easter I can finally eat chocolate again, or on Easter I can have a soda again, or on Easter I can have chips again. But you see, that steals the meaning of Lent away from it. That takes away why Christ challenges us to look deep into our souls. Because you see, that takes away real transformation. Lent is meant to be a time of soul-searching, life transformation. And if we're focusing on just giving something up that we're going to pick back up after 40 days, then were we really changed? Did we really allow God to do a good work in us? So this time for Lent, I want to challenge us to look past the superficial giving up of chocolate and soda and any of that stuff, and look into our hearts and souls and pick that one thing that we really need to let go of, that we really need to truly be transformed by separating ourselves from. And pick that one thing that you don't want to pick back up after 40 days. Pick that one thing that we can truly be transformed by giving up. You see, all of us have baggage in one way or another. All of us have things, as this song sang with the kids, that make us fixer-uppers. And all of us have something we need to change. Something with God's help we need to grow through. Something we need to let go of. Some piece of baggage that's overwhelming us. And here in this congregation, for all of Lent, I want to challenge us to take that veil off of saying, oh, I'm perfect, I don't have any problems. Because again, I've told you this before, if you say that, you all are liars. In this room, it doesn't matter. In this room, we don't care because we're all fixer-uppers. And we know it. And we'd rather you be honest about that problem about that one thing, that one big piece of baggage that you've got to get rid of. We'd rather you be honest about that and say, God, here, I'm going to put this at your feet because I can't carry it anymore. You know, as we were thinking about this and we were wrestling, I really felt like I wanted to get this image down clearly about baggage. I mean, every single one of us, the baggage we carry, we have carried from the very beginning of life. It could have begun when you were in elementary school and they were picking the kids for the sports team and you were always picked last. And so the piece of baggage that is said to you is that you're not worth it. And you feel alone and lost. Or maybe you struggle with anger. And in your bag, you have so much hurt and hatred in your heart that it has come into a piece of anger. And so you lug around this bag full of all of the things that are weighing you down. And your anger that you have towards your parents or towards a family member or even towards yourself begins to surface and attack others. You never seem to be able to be kind or nice or loving. And you're always biting and cruel. Or maybe sometimes you have this baggage of fear. You're afraid to love. You're afraid to open yourself up. You're afraid to let your heart embrace Christ, embrace someone else, because you're afraid you're going to get hurt again. You're afraid that you're not going to be seen as worth it. You're afraid, just like in the elementary school playground, you're going to be left out once again. Some of us might carry the baggage or the weight of shame or guilt. Shame over things that have happened in the past that you wish hadn't happened. Or guilt that you have broken someone's heart, that you have hurt someone else. And so you carry these heavy baggage, these heavy pieces that weigh you down and spiritually and emotionally create a sense of worry and anxiety within you. And maybe even hate, to where you truly end up hating another person for no apparent reason. You see, when we have our bag full of all of these, we can't really let the things of love and peace, the things of God in. You see, when we allow for our hearts and our souls to be weighed down by these things, and we're not able to turn them over to God, then what happens is our love, it's not as whole as it could be. We're never able to really know God's peace because we let the worry and the hate take more space in the bag than Christ's love, His peace, His kindness, patience, gentleness, and self-control. You see, when Nicodemus came to Christ and he said, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. You keep talking about this wholeness, this peace, this love in the world. What do I need to do to get there? And Jesus says, it's simple. Let go of the past and start over again. And he's like, what do you mean born again? How can I get back in my mama's womb? I'm a little too big. And Jesus says, look, it's not about the physical rebirth. It's about letting go. It's about letting your soul be reborn. Now, I will tell you straight that this is not easy to let go of this baggage, to pick up this baggage. And this isn't really baggage. It's not easy to let go of worry and guilt and shame and the messages we've heard in the past. My father and I have a lot of things that are very similar. And we also have a lot of things that cause us to butt heads. As my mother says, you're so much like your dad. And I think he gets frustrated with that. For a long time, my dad and I had this big clash over how I had one direction I was going in my life, and he thought I should go this way, but he was trying to be a good dad and not tell me I should go this way. But it was struggling, and I wasn't working like he would have thought I should have been working. I was resting a little bit more because I was trying to find where God was calling me. I was trying to explore that. And finally, my dad and I had it out one evening in the kitchen. And I said to him, Daddy, your grandfather told you all the time, idle hands are the devil's work. And you think that you have to keep working in order to be found, to see that there's value. I said, I believe that too, but I don't feel like as if I'm taking rest and I'm taking time to be with the Lord, that I'm being idle. And in that moment, he realized that the baggage he had of his grandfather, always never letting him do nothing, never letting him rest. When he went to visit his my great-grandfather had a farm out here, how's it go? 3 miles due west of Fargo. When my dad would go visit his granddad, and if there was no more farm work to do for that day, my great-granddad would hand him a coffee can and say, go pick up nails in the field. Because he didn't think boys should sit and just play around. And so that baggage became a part of his life. And then it began to become a part of mine. You see, it's hard to let go of these things. It is hard sometimes to let go of guilt. Hard to let go of hurt and hatred. But when we embrace the way of God, he comes in and he says, child, I'm going to help you unpack this. You're like, wait, no, God, I've been carrying this so long, I don't know how to live without it. He says, well, I do, and I'm not going to let you go alone anymore. He says, here, let's talk about the hate. Let's talk about why you hurt. And slowly he begins to shift the hate into hope and into love. And slowly, as we allow his soul to come in, his true love to come in, things begin to change. For Lent, I want to challenge you to pick that piece of baggage that really needs to be let go of. That one thing that you know is eating you alive every day. And Wednesday night, commit to laying it down for the next 40 days. Now there's something that we need to understand with this. We don't do it alone. Let me repeat that. We don't do it alone. We don't go down this journey of Lent, this journey of self-exploration alone. Because if you're going to commit to lay that down, and I'm going to commit to lay that down, then I need you to help make sure I keep it down. And you need me to help make sure you keep it down. And there's going to be times where you're still going to struggle with it. If you're saying, I've got so much anger wrapped up in me, I can't just suddenly stop being angry. That's okay. God knows that. And he says, okay, we're going to walk through this together over these next 40 days. Over the rest of your life, we're going to walk through this together. And I'm going to slowly help you begin to let that go. And there'll be that moment. There'll be that moment in which you'll say, I now feel born again. I committed my life to Christ when I was 14. But I really began to realize this feeling of being born again at 27. Do your math, Andy, do your math. It was a long journey. Because at that point was the first time I really felt like I had something to let go of. And I felt freedom come in. In the song that I used with the kids, I kind of wanted to use it for the adults, but I felt like we'd use it with the kids. But at the end of the song, towards the end of it, the mama troll sings to Anna. Look, you can't expect him to change. People make, when they are hurt and they are angry and they are mad and they are stressed, they're going to make bad decisions. But the way that changes those decisions, the way that helps to let go of that baggage, is true love. True love. We have the perfect example of true love. And that's in Jesus Christ, who decided to empty himself, to let go of everything he had, to step down from the kingdom of heaven, come down here to this earth, become like us, go through all the same struggles we have. And then when he is loving everybody out there, is captured, is tortured, and told, if you don't stop being this way, if you don't stop telling people it's going to be okay, if you don't stop telling people to follow your way and know love and peace, we're going to kill you. And he says, I can't stop. And so he says, I'm willing to empty myself, to let go of everything in order to show true love. And he sacrifices himself so that we can know hope. In the song, it says, true love is what fixes us up. Over these next 40 days, we're going to focus on true love. And we're going to start it today by taking communion. Taking the bread and the juice and remind ourselves that Christ loves us, that his wholeness will make us whole again, and that he is the perfect example of true love, and holding on to him will help us move forward. So let us prepare our hearts to receive this gift of love.